know, the theme behind today's agenda is the expertise New Zealand has to offer. I will start by introducing Dr. Leon Furi, who is joining this session on behalf of Te Pukenga, following the earlier presentation on their internationalisation plans moving forward. Kia ora, Leon.
Kia ora, Ben. Nice to be here.
Thank you. We are also, I think, currently waiting on Josh Williams. Josh presented earlier. He is the principal consultant at Skills Consulting Group. He presented today on New Zealand's work-based learning model and apprenticeships, as well as sharing his expertise on New Zealand's industry training system. Hopefully we'll have Josh arriving shortly. But next up, we also have Darren Conway. Darren is both the chair of English New Zealand and the managing director of Languages International. Through his earlier presentation, Darren provided a comprehensive overview on the English language training landscape in New Zealand. Kia ora, Darren.
Kia ora, Ben. Kia ora, tata.
So I'm just going to have a quick look through the Q&A box. I'll start here with you, Leon, if that's okay. In the presentation, it talked about how Te Pukenga is open to working collaboratively with international partners who we have online at the moment. How do you suggest or recommend that they should explore collaborative opportunities with Te Pukenga?
Thanks, Ben. Look, at the moment, we already have across the Te Pukenga network, which is formed up by 15, 16 institutes of technology and polytechs. We already have more than 100 programs, collaboration with various partners right across the world. So collaboration is already there, very much directly with the various subsidiaries or polytechs at the moment. That will continue for the next year or so directly with those institutes that are part of Te Pukenga. But what you can expect as we roll forward is that Te Pukenga, who's only in the transition period at the moment, that Te Pukenga will start to more and more use its size and scale to act as a single partner to institutions offshore. So the opportunity is there, particularly with bigger initiatives that we might see to collaborate far quicker directly with Te Pukenga. So for the interim, I would suggest both those approaches. Where you've got a relationship already with a subsidiary or polytech, continue to do so. When new opportunities arise, particularly bigger ones, where you want to leverage the whole size and scale of 60 plus campuses right across the whole of New Zealand, work through Te Pukenga directly. At this point, I'm a chief executive of one of the subsidiaries at Toi Ohomai, here in the Bay of Plenty, but I'm also the sector representative for international. So I'll be a good access point alongside Angela Beaton, who is the deputy chief executive, to work through.
Thanks, Leon. That's very helpful for our audience. You mentioned the existing partnerships with subsidiaries and polytechnics. A lot of those had been built initially through the admiration of our partner countries, the admiration of New Zealand's vocational system. Yes. What do you believe have been the key factors to its success?
Yeah, I think our sector is very well known to responding to needs of partner countries and institutions quite rapidly. Our ability to develop programs that are tailor-made and not off the rack is one of our key benefits. So we have developed multiple collaborative joint programs with international institutions that satisfies their needs very directly. And I think that's a key difference. Plus, we are innovative in terms of being able to deliver both onshore and offshore, as well as providing options for learners from overseas to gain joint qualifications and then also complete their studies coming to New Zealand. So the typical 3+1 or 2+2 or 2+1, where they start off in their home-based country, but then joins New Zealand for the completion of their qualification or get a second qualification. So we're very innovative, and we always will find a way of making something work with partner institutions.
Great, thank you. Another question here. This was also mentioned in the skills presentation around the reform is actually about increasing the amount of work-based learning. Are you able to explain a bit more how that reform has been designed to make it easier for employers to work with vocational education institutions in New Zealand?
Yeah, at the core of who we are is about providing all learners with maximum work-based experience while they're still studying their qualifications. It is our view that the quicker they become accustomed to what is the expectation once they've achieved their qualification, the better. We also provide a lot of training in the new model directly with people in work. So we will be providing training in the work environment itself. Our platform is not just an on-campus model. It is both. It's all three areas you can think of. So it's an on-campus model, yes, for our typical students, but it's also in work where we work alongside the employees and employers, but also in the online environment where we've got significant growth, particularly in the international market. So learners that do come to Te Pukenga or any of the subsidiaries will have that opportunity to also engage quite directly with employers in the particular field that they're studying with as part of their curriculum. It's not just a class-based model. It is an integrated learn as you step through the qualification.
Okay, thank you, Leon. Darren, I'll head over to you. There's a couple of questions here. We'll start with this one. Obviously, like a lot of other sectors, the English language sector has obviously been impacted by COVID. How have you seen the English language providers in New Zealand pivot with the existing challenges that they're faced with?
Some have been able to pivot online, particularly with academic preparation courses, mainly our members that are already part of large state institutions. We have ARA at ITP, for example, or we have a school on campuses of both Waikato University, Canterbury University and Otago University. All of those members have been doing a fair amount of online academic English preparation for students who are, for the moment, trapped offshore. Some of our other members have been able to do online provision as well. It's less common, I would suppose, with general English training. And we have a bit of teacher training going on, I suppose, also through Languages International. My own institution, for example, have just launched the first CELTA, which is the world's most recognized teacher training qualification for language teachers online, because that's an initiative from Cambridge, has been going over the last year and a half or so, and we've just picked that up as well. So there's that type of pivoting going on, and then members have also been doing a bit of teaching in the domestic migrant market. But there are not a lot of places to pivot to for specialist English language trainers, unfortunately. So we're just having to sit out for most of this year, I would suppose.
Thanks, Darren. And moving forward, I mean, with moving forward post-COVID, what is your view? Are there any future trends that you see emerging in the English language training sector?
I don't think there's going to be anything surprising. All sectors will do a little bit more blended learning and a mix of offshore and onshore than they had done in the past. But I still see the weight of English language training in particular remaining onshore. There are not a lot of new trends coming that we haven't seen coming slowly for a long time.
Just going back to the online programs you mentioned, obviously the quality assurance is key for learners. What is provided by New Zealand to ensure the learners are receiving a quality product?
Anybody that's providing an actual qualification offshore, so for example, the New Zealand Certificate in English Language, or in our case, the Cambridge CELTA, have needed to go through NZQA approval for a change of mode of delivery. So there's been oversight at that level. Most other general training type programs that are being delivered online has been a lighter touch because the stakes are not as high in that area. But certainly the high stakes programs, academic English in particular, have had NZQA oversight on them.
Okay. So one more question here. Could you please elaborate on the difference between the New Zealand certificate in English language and the accredited pathway assessment?
The New Zealand certificate in English language is a New Zealand qualifications authority approved qualification on the National Qualifications Framework. It's at a number of levels from 1 to 5, and levels 4 and 5 provide on successful completion entry into courses right across the tertiary sector at the equivalent of, for level 4, around about 6 IELTS, and for level 5 for postgraduate programs. And students that pass those courses, which are usually about 16 weeks long, have a wide range of directions that they can go in. There's only 2 or 3 English New Zealand members that are offering that program at the moment, because it's tended not to be a market that we've dealt in that before. It's focused a little bit more on the domestic market, I suppose, and on the polytechnic market, the ITP market. The APA is a new initiative, was only signed about a year ago between Universities New Zealand and English New Zealand, which is a direct entry program from English New Zealand members to all 8 universities in New Zealand. And it only applies if the school, the English New Zealand member, has been approved, has gone through a quality assurance program process to have that course approved. So not all members offer that course. At the moment, there are only 3. And it's like NZCEL, like the New Zealand Certificate in English Language. It assesses essentially at 2 levels, undergraduate and postgraduate. It doesn't offer entry to the ITPs at the moment. We don't have a direct through there.
Okay, thanks, Darren. I'll come back to Leon. There's a question here as well related to an earlier one. How and what kind of growth is expected in the vocational sector in the post-pandemic world?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at Te Pukenga now, in 2019, we had probably about 10,500 international EFTs, somewhere between 23 and 30,000 international students studying with us. That has dropped quite significantly in 2020. And at the moment, we're probably at about 3,700 international EFTs, or around about 10,000 international students. The question that needs to be asked, that if the borders start to open, how much increase will we see back to those previous levels in this vocational space? We have followed a route in New Zealand of making sure that what we provide is quality and not necessarily volume. We'll continue down that line. What we're offering international learners is very much in that quality space. The majority of the learners who come across still in that kind of management and commerce space, about 34% of our students. That's followed by IT, about 14%, engineering and technology, 12%, health, about 9%, society and culture, 9%, and agriculture, about 7%. So we'll probably continue to provide to those levels going forward. We are reassessing our international strategy in terms of the vocational space.
Okay.
Of course, yep.
Sorry, Leon. Thank you very much. We're going to have to quickly wrap that up. We are quickly running out of time, but thank you, Leon. Thank you, Darren. Thank you for the answers to those questions. Kia ora.
Thank you.
A fascinating